Sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to ncêlïng. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button, turn on the notification so you get notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I want to say a very big shout out to every one of you for all the support and love you all give me here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So today we'll be talking something really very important, and it's about why people canceling one another, because somebody may actually made a statement and one actually came out to like, you know what? She started by saying that white Africans are responsible for apartheid and colonization. And she went further to say that white people trying so hard to erase black people historically. And she also said that CRT is a must because white people really need to learn, need to know about the history, that it is very important. She went further to say that white people, poor white people are the backbone of white supremacies and all. And she said that all white people benefited, and in fact they are benefiting and they are benefited and still benefiting from white supremacy and white civilization and as a whole. And she went further to make so many great points. I mean, she really came all out for them. And I am happy that it is not like black people anymore trying to educate them. It is them trying to educate one another. You know what? Stay close to the screen. Let me roll the clip, and then we'll come back to talk about it. And I absolutely want to read all your comments. Let me know what you all think about this in the comment section. And straight up, I am rolling the
white Latinos and white Africans as an example with no context and no education, no knowledge about the history in those areas is exactly why we need to be talking about race. You're talking about white Africans, you mean the ones responsible for apartheid and colonization? The ones still exploiting children in that area for all of the resources for the technology gathered for your phone? You mean the white South and Central Americans that have constantly tried to erase black and brown people historically through what's known as blanqueamiento, i.e. trying to breed melanin out of the population. This is why critical race theory is so important. Now, I know a lot of people of my complexion and your complexion like to get in their feelings whenever they hear the term, "oh, white people are racist." And I do agree that we should probably use something else because y'all are too quick to jump in your feelings.
No, we shouldn't.
What it means is that you are operating as part of a larger structure of systemic white power and white supremacy, which has colonized every single continent on this fucking planet. And I bring this up to anybody that wants to make Latin America or Africa out to be shithole continents because they have wholeheartedly been colonized by white people. Economic collapse in these areas has wholeheartedly been at the hands of white people. Most of the political instability that has happened in Africa and Latin America is the result of white people butting their nose into business they did not belong in order to siphon resources out of an area without having to pay fairly for them. But back to the point that all white people are racist. You were born into a society that deemed you the good, the standard of beauty, the default, when you're none of those things. In fact, it only took how many centuries of white people running shit for our world to be on a path to mass extinction, when for thousands of years before that, there were no problems until white supremacy. There was no racism, there was no misogyny. In fact, most other cultures were matriarchal. But y'all will conveniently and consistently use your white privilege, use your ignorance and your lack of racial education due to white supremacists in this country, such as the Daughters of Liberty, that made sure that your history was whitewashed, to ignore the problem that is actually being talked about here. Your ability to ignore the disenfranchisement of the black population through mass incarceration and its firm and very evident roots in slavery. To ignore every single disparity affecting people of color in this country is your racism. And it is a default for white people. And you need to wake up and do better. Because living in a bubble of white ignorance is not it. Do better. Educate yourself. Read a history book.
I had a feeling someone was going to come in with the not all white people were colonizers, so let's deconstruct this too. Never in that video was it said that all white people were colonizers. What was said is that all white people benefit from a system of white supremacy, and that white civilization as a whole has colonized the whole planet. Now, of course, the vast majority of people in a capitalist society are going to be poor. That is literally the whole point. But this is something that y'all really need to understand. Poor white people are the backbone of white supremacy. They are what allows it to continue. Because poor white people are indoctrinated more than any other group to uphold white supremacy through ideologies such as hyper-individualism, which allows them to distance themselves from systemic issues by saying, well, not all white people do this. Well, there's a lot of poor white people. Oh, but I'm not racist. So why do I need to be held responsible for what other people are doing? While simultaneously voting in people who are upholding systemic racism through legislation, through things such as mass incarceration, the exploitation of black and brown countries, the robbing of their resources. See, they vote in the people that instigate coups, who overthrow democratic governments in these regions, who situate leaders that will allow them to exploit the country's resources. See also Latin America. White supremacy would not exist without the complacency of poor whites, without the indoctrination of poor whites, without the I'm not part of the problem poor whites. Just because you don't call someone the N-word does not mean that you are not participating in white supremacy. Poor whites make up the majority of our military force. They are incentivized to uphold white supremacy. It really does not matter if your ancestors were on the Mayflower or not. As a Sicilian, I know that even though many Sicilians were lynched in the United States because of their complexion and the way that they presented in a society which deemed Mediterraneans as non-white, they were still anti-black. Many were still racist, and they still leveraged their position of power over black people. It does not discredit their struggles to say that they participated in white supremacy, and that as a culture they still do. Being poor is not an exemption to white supremacy. Being poor is not an exemption to being racist. And we see this all the time when poor white folks are the main contributors to individualized racism. Poor white folks carry white supremacy on their back, while rich white folks, the 1% of the 1%, sit on top of y'all's backs and somehow simultaneously convince y'all that black people are what's making your life hard, or immigrants are what's making your life hard. Wake up and realize who is sitting on your back, and make the decision to not carry them anymore, poor or not. Have a day. Poor white people are the backbone of white supremacy.
Go watch that Stitch video for context for what I'm about to say. I agree with everything she said, with this exception. The foundational support of white supremacy in this world, the backbone, as she said, isn't poor white people. It's white women. Any philosophy conceived by a man cannot be birthed by a woman without her love, support, and nurturing. Without white women, the social construct of whiteness and white supremacy would be dead in this world. Women have enormous power in this world.
So this is all I got from the video and the stitches, and absolutely enjoy, talking, enjoy listening to her, because she made so many great points. And like the man said, yeah, that is true. White women really have a whole lot to play when it comes to racism, and they have so much power to stop or continue. But I see like some of them do not even want to come together or think about it, because they absolutely enjoy their white supremacies and the privilege that comes with it, right? And I also hear them say that how can I be racist when I am poor? I mean, that you are poor doesn't mean that you can be racist. That you don't use any word doesn't mean that you cannot be racist. You can still not use all that, but you are still rare and safe, right? And I absolutely enjoy, let me know what you all think in the comment section. And you know what? See you all in my next video. Bye for now.